Hello. I wanted to do something different today. I'm gonna mess that up if I'm not careful. And this seemed different, you know? I didn't feel like doing Minecraft. I want to do something different. I looked through my free game suggestions, and this looked different and fun. Well, not maybe. I'm not sure about fun, but different and pretty. It was pretty. Let's be honest. That's why I picked it. It's pretty. Look how pretty. It's just like I like the off white and blue, and the it's a little bit yellow. I like it. It's pretty. Okay, I'm gonna read the words on the screen, and then we can go on, because I thought this was a nice little message. To our esteemed first readers, it is our great pleasure to connect with you here. We believe you are curious about the events of late 1884. We are compiling this story into a book, but the large-scale project means it cannot be published soon. Luckily, our editors have allowed us to share a preview of the manuscript exclusively with you. Note that this is only a draft excerpt, and we cannot guarantee its perfection. If you find any issues or want to interact with fellow readers, our Discord channel is open to all discerning readers. The full story will be about 1 million words. As a small two-person studio from China, localizing such a large work is a huge challenge for us. We will keep updating and refining the translation and future versions of the game. We sincerely welcome your suggestions and support. Okay. All goods. Yours faithfully, Margaret Gould. Hey, so that's what those things said. I couldn't figure out what these were because they were in Chinese when I booted up the game, and I don't read Chinese, so I was very confused. This makes a lot more sense. I was just randomly clicking the buttons. I was like, probably not one of these two, so I clicked these three to try and figure it out. I found this one. And then I pressed the button at the bottom that said English and restarted the game. Very, very competent of me, I know. Actually, let's look at settings. This is preview effective text playback speed. I would like that a little bit slow. Or a little bit slower. Yeah, that's more what I want. Even though it'll be slow somewhat, I don't... Sometimes I read chat, and I don't want to lose my... I don't know what audience-friendly mode means. Would that be like streamer mode, you think? I don't know. I'm gonna guess I want that. Looks pretty basic. Never see H used for home. Or KL used, honestly. Um, this looks all fine. No one's here, but let's start the game. Oh, I love the effect. Announcement. Although this work is based on historical backdrop, it has undergone in-depth artistic adaptation and fictionalization, resulting in significant discrepancies from actual historical facts. Such discrepancies apply to various elements, including but not limited to characters, events, and locations. The views and positions expressed by the characters in the work do not represent the genuine opinions or stances of the creators. Audience members are advised not to directly equate the plot of this work with historical facts, nor to regard it as true reproduction of history. For detailed historical information, please refer to authoritative academic research and historical documents. I'm not sure historical is the words you want here, but that's funny. Historical documents sounds way better than historic documents or whatever. It doesn't matter. As always, I do not assume to be, content warning. Yeah, that's fine. I already did that. Mystery game includes criminal activity and violent themes. I mean, and some other stuff, but yes, I never expect my never had that show up before.
To Miss Gordon, I pray you will forgive the intrusion at this Christmastide. Certain matters of present concern are unfolding within London at present, which may bear pertinence to the case you previously entrusted to me, specifically the circumstances concerning the lady involved. It is my considered opinion that the emergence of similar incidents with notable frequency over these past 6 months may afford us some insight. I would respectfully purpose that you call upon me following the festive period. My establishment will reopen on the day after Christmas. It is, however, imperative that we discuss all particulars in person. Your faithful servant, Gilbert Peterson, 20th of December, 1884.
It reminds me of I hope it's not like weird, but the reason it interests me. Okay, each of those densely packed plaque rows of houses hides its own secret. Every room and every house hides its own secret, and every heart beating within the countless chests in each room for some of its own thoughts and feelings remains a secret, even to the closest heart beside it. Charles Dickens. Anyway, it reminds me of like the Peter Rabbit stories. I forget her name, or like Wind in the Willows. The art. I mean, I don't know what it's actually going to be like. But that's what the art reminds me of. Meow. Meow. Dear friend, though we met abruptly, please allow me to recount everything that has happened over the past year from the very beginning. Please forgive me for being a little overwrought, which has led to a muddled account. Well, after all, I haven't yet found a suitable first reader for this story. There's some problems with the... I think I know something they're gonna fix. English words don't go off the side and into the bottom of the page like that. Nobody wants to read a stuffy, drawn-out opening before you get to the recap. And editors hate this kind of writing too, but they rarely dare to complain just to hold on to the authors. I'm not sure recap's the right word there. As I pen this line, I'm figuring out how to recount to you the story so far and what's to come, but don't expect to truly step into a writer's life just by relying on their words. Meow. Meow. My cat has a lot to say today. What do you want? Are you cold? After all, writers are always like this. They would rather wallow in self-pity, talking repeatedly about a raindrop that doesn't exist than face life as it is head on. Oh wow. But I think the profession of detective is just the opposite. They more or less need to observe and perceive the smallest details, though there are exceptions to this rule. Oops, I rambled on again. Anyway, everything happened on December 26th, 1884. That is... Okay, the words going down the side like that is just not working for me. The Christmas event is drawing to a close. The snowstorm has let up for a while, and some public facilities have resumed operation. Most of the crowds who left London before Christmas have crammed back in to King's Cross Station, or the classless Circle line of the Metropolitan Underground, like a flock of sheep in a vast pasture. A few hours earlier, I was part of that throng too, peering out from the white, woolly mass before heading back to my own pen. What are you doing, Cat? Of course, I'm here to meet someone, and I've already arrived at his office. But then again, I thought I'd only be meeting that one person at first. Good heavens, is that Miss Gold? On the morning of the 26th, the best, I can't read. The best detective in London seems to know... The best detective in London seemed to almost knock his hat off when opening the door, and I was naturally the culprit. He was very tall. If he wore a taller hat, he would easily run into his kind of trouble. He would easily run into this kind of trouble when passing through a door frame, but he was always careful, so this was a rare occurrence. Maybe it was because I arrived far too early, or perhaps the situation was more tricky than I had imagined. Merry Christmas, Mr. Peterson. Okay, now I've seen two names for her. One is Gold and one is Goldine. and I'm not sure which one is the one they went with, but the one in the audio is like Goldeen, so I'm a little confused. I thought you might be a bit late. Most people still can't drag themselves out of bed on the first day after Christmas. As you know, I just can't stay idle. Even a teeny bit of news would be enough. It's hard to say if there's any real news, but I've indeed been rushing around nonstop from half a month before Christmas until now. Is it exciting? Mr. Peterson, I believe you are not a man who likes to joke. Since you wrote that letter, you would hardly have let me make this trip for nothing. G-Scalp. I like the clothing. I really like the clothing, honestly. It's really cute. If you want me to talk, you might as well answer me a question. First, are you willing to follow that case through to the end at all costs? I mean, there's a question. Simon? I'm not sure which. As long as there's still as long as there's the slightest chance that Simone is still alive, I want to see this investigation through to the end, even if it's the worst case scenario. I at least want to take her remains. That's enough, sad. I can understand how you're feeling right now. Okay. Since before the holiday, one complicated matter after another has cropped up, so I'll have to tell you about them slowly. Just yesterday, I was at home having a dinner party with some friends. However, a guest who was not on any of our invitation lists came into our sight. It was a woman about 30 years old, of medium height, with brown hair, wearing a hat adorned with silk flowers, and a dark gray overcoat covered in dirt and dead leaves. The woman rapped on the door panel, opening onto the living room in a completely irregular manner until we let her in. I interacted with her for about 15 minutes. At first, she couldn't even string together a complete sentence, and could only let out terrified mumbles. However, there were no man-made tears or rips on her clothes. Our initial assessment was that she didn't seem to have been the victim of a violent assault. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. That's so cute. The little crow with the little dress and the hat. You may take a rest first. Oh, no, that's not very nice. It's the devil beneath London. Again, not very nice. Hides, yes, I need a place to hide. Hold on, are you being threatened by anyone? The devil, sir, it's the devil. It's true. Ah, yes. That makes a lot of sense. Is the devil a code name or an organization? What kind of place do you need exactly? Oh. Just as I was trying to guide the woman to answer the questions, a regular knock sounded on the door panel leading to the living room. So I decided to open the door and wait to see what would happen. Outside the door stood a man with disheveled feathers, tall and slightly overweight, older than the woman, around 40 years old. After I opened the door, he first doffed his hat in greeting, then immediately spotted the woman and became quite agitated. I really like the clothing. He called himself John Moore and stated that the woman was his wife, Helen, who had been missing for an entire day. I watched as he whispered a few words to the woman named Helen, then took her hand and comforted her gently, without any unnecessary movements. Gradually, the woman relaxed. They walked hand in hand toward me. Mr. Moore apologized to me and said they were ready to go home. There are so many questions here. Hi, yeah. After that, I tacitly consented to this behavior. What? Tacitly consented to this behavior? Hold on. Mr. Peterson, did you just let them leave like that? My warning might seem unnecessary to you, but that John could very well be a human trafficker. I mean, are they human? They look like crows to me, and you guys look like a dog and a cat. Calm down, calm down. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You need a reason to justify this confident attitude, Mr. Peterson. I have no intention of meddling in other people's domestic affairs. Fair. But for a woman who might be suffering from a pathological mental condition, out of moral consideration, I will never allow this gentleman to take her away by force. Margaret said that it would not help the narrative to leave our readers completely in the dark about what had happened before. Therefore, we need to make a long story short, starting with myself. This is some content compiled by Miss Guild. It manages to depict each of our personalities accurately, though I think certain parts are overly emotional and thus not very objective. What claims to be the best private detective in London, and that is what we know for sure. Half of his clients actually agree. As for the other half, who are reluctant to admit it, he couldn't care less. After all, even the greatest of men can never escape the fickle tongues of scoundrels. He is a role model to countless men, for no one has ever seen him. That's jumbled. That's too jumbled for me to read. Gentleman's fists. The sword is the art of gentleman. Gunpowder is the sorcery of new era. Masterful swordsmanship and hand-to-hand combat skills, as well as the art of defending a superior force with fewer men. You can deduce new clues from your observations or use rational thinking to reconstruct scenarios and solve problems. Cynical when you discern context, conceited confidence is a reliable male, only that it may occasionally cost one a kingdom. This trait we're deemed to have our greatest universal edge in, yet people can occasionally stumble even in areas where they excel. This is the less agreeable side of our character. Some may call these traits flaws based on their emotional inclinations, but I consider them neutral so long as we know how to put them in the right place. Naturally, you may not notice there are 2 blank slots next to each trait. We won't make use of them for the time being, but I can let you in on a little secret. These slots will display our augmented traits, which with a maximum of 2 points. So it scores you on how insightful, how good at fighting, how cynical, how conceited. Okay. The entries above represent the knowledge we possess, each of us having our own areas of expertise. Okay, forensics and law enforcer. Okay. Is the affinity in the other. The column below is our network of social connections. Even a beggar has their own informants, and we know exactly where to go to get things done more smoothly. Naturally, I'd rather demonstrate these traits through real cases to show you what specific effects they typically yield. Many people dismiss these investigative instincts of mine as unreliable, but in truth, I have given careful consideration to every step I take. Okay. 20 minutes in and I feel like I haven't played the game yet. Not my favorite. First and foremost, I can tell you plainly that at Scotland Yard, half of the men favor me, while the other half hold the very opposite opinion. I feel like this is kind of based on Sherlock Holmes, which I quite like. Thanks for the hydrate! Hi, Nameless! How are you today? I didn't feel like playing Minecraft, so I picked up one of the demos Lost Dumps in the Discord. I thought this one, it kind of reminded me of, I don't remember the name, but like Peter Rabbit, Wind in the Willows, that kind of thing. So I decided to play it. And it looked different. I see that. Do you enjoy it till now? It's not been boring. It is just mostly words at this point. I do think it's a visual novel is what Lost called it. I don't know. For now, I've only gotten through words and words and words and figuring out how to turn it to English from Chinese. That's what I've done. I didn't feel like playing Minecraft. I don't know. I don't mind it though. It's not. What are you doing, cat? My cat's been having a little bit of a crazy day. She's just running around the room. Well, you don't like words, so it must be quite interesting. I don't like words in my video games normally, no, but I was in the mood for something different. Maybe that's why it's fun. I like the book. I like the little animation for the book. And I like their clothing. I really like the way the little outfits are done. Yes, but this half alone, I can obtain all that I require. You think this is an easy feat? Believe me, Henderson, it is no man to trust every Tom, Dick, and Harry one might chance upon. I will say with the English, this is bothering me, how it ends one word and will continue it without a, on the next line, without a dash. It's very difficult for me to realize what's going on, because that's just not how English works. What's that? She's chasing her tail. Characters, alignment, affinity, and indicates which faction they can win over more easily. Of course, this does not mean they are limited to gaining support from only one side. With a little strategy and a stroke of luck, there's always a way to make more allies. Well, the man... Sorry, my cat is going crazy behind me. Well, the man who called himself Mr. Moore was speaking. I noticed there was a rose-shaped wedding ring on her wings, and the initials HM were indeed hidden in the ring design. Insight. My rudimentary medical knowledge suffices to corroborate the fact beyond fatigue, sleep deprivation, and some unknown mental strain, the lady is actually in quite good health with no traces of... Hello, Lost! I'm playing a demo. I didn't feel like Minecraft today. Traces of abuse whatsoever. Generalist. Finally, with... Is that a sword? I like that. I like the sword. Finally, with the training regimen I stick to, if anything were to happen, that man would never walk away from me unscathed. Well, there's some confidence. Gentleman's fists. I think you can put conceited there, too. All of this comes to my professional instinct, and I firmly believe in it. All this comes from my professional instinct. Finally, getting into visual novels, you're going to have good taste. Yeah, sure. Though there are plenty of villains around these days, those who constantly parrot the saying, one can never be too careful of others, usually have no clue who they should actually be wary of. A Chinese variety. Truly, you always had good taste. What? It looks like, it looks like Peter Rabbit and stuff. It reminds me of like Peter Rabbit and, Wind in the Willows. Well, more Wind in the Willows, honestly. And, there's one other that comes to mind. But I didn't remember what it's called, but there's another adventure one that comes to mind that's again like this. Didn't remember the name though. Traits, a topic of general importance, just as the characters in Shakespeare's works are always defined by their personalities. A character's traits also determine how they will act, as demonstrated in the showcase. Certain opinions are tied to these traits. Of course, with fate on one side, people can occasionally resolve problems in ways they are unskilled at, and even flaws can bring us benefits from time to time. Very well, Mr. Peterson. Given your professional integrity, I could read it, but I couldn't say it. Did you really not chase after them to take a look? I did step outside and take a casual glance around. I stepped outside and saw John supporting Helen as they walked all the way to the intersection ahead. He hailed a cab, and the two of them got in together. I then wrote down all my discoveries made afterward. You'll notice in a moment that some of the options come from a probably annotation where you're making story choices. Remember what I said earlier? Even in a field one excels at, it's still possible to stumble. Mr. Peterson, I think everyone will need some more intuitive examples. Then you'll have to improvise, Miss Golden. I have no patience for explaining it again. Alas, if only you had a bit more patience. Anyway, if you were a silver-tongued young lad arguing with your schoolmates, or even debating with the resurrected Demotheans, I can't read that. Demosthenes. You could easily get better of the former, but your chances of success against the latter would be slim to none. Who is the person at the back? A Greek or a Turk? Never mind, it's not important. It's just that case it can't be deemed slim to none. We can run the numbers. Alright, there's no need for the audience to fuss over how far-fetched these examples are. To put it simply, someone who's never even held a sword still has a chance of defeating a master swordsman, albeit a very slim one. When these options appear, they will be labeled with probability ratings: extremely high, medium, low, extremely low, based on different scenarios to provide everyone with a clear, intuitive reference. There are two scenarios for the unlabeled options. First, no character traits are required to resolve the issue. Here, second, this option guarantees a 100% success rate. After all, we only take probability into special consideration when the task seems particularly difficult. Anyways, how's the game so far? Words. That's the game. I've done nothing but read. It's fine. I wanted something different. This is certainly different. Isn't it lovely? It's nice today. I don't think I would usually enjoy it. I told you this one was a visual novel. You did. I just wanted something different. And the others didn't look interesting today. That's usually the case, but sometimes a steady strategy isn't necessarily a foolproof one. Not every soul shares your penchant for adventure. Might we not let them take a stab at these multiple choice questions forthwith? Here is my actual proposal. Seeing as I seek a wealth of answers, we ought to commence proceeding in the form of simulated question and answer session. Let me think. The question I need to ask is, what other noteworthy details were there? Anything unusual about this carriage? Where did they go? Alright, shall we move on to the next topic? Was there anything unusual about the carriage? I don't think that's likely, but I think it's an interesting question. A completely unremarkable carriage. That doesn't sound much like you, Mr. Peterson. I don't quite remember the structure of the carriage. After all, even the most accomplished person can't know everything. Wow, is this you starting to boast about yourself? I don't need to boast about myself, nor do I need praise from others. I have always been the finest and strongest. Let me think. The question I need to ask are other noteworthy details. There was still some snow left on the ground, left on the road. A detail most people would probably overlook easily, but I of course noticed a teeny object lying nearby. I swear that thing definitely didn't appear until after they showed up. What is it? A small, okay, the kind you'd pin to your chest, hat or buttonhole. Tied with a white ribbon, it looked a little wilted already. I believe it was a bunch of bitter oranges. Okay. You're really that you can't even roll dice. True. Bitter oranges at this time of year, and they're not even dried flowers. They're not dried flowers, but then again, private conservatories are hardly uncommon these days. In this era, many once impossible things have long since become possible. That may be true, but still. Never mind, I'm actually quite curious too. A bunch of bitter oranges. Is it evidence? May I take it? May I take a look? I think people usually keep this kind of evidence, don't they? I even locked them in a box. See, they're all right here. All right, this seems really handy. Whenever you need them, just find this leather case in the menu. Though, do we need to show these items to the witnesses? Why would you ask that? Has anyone ever done this before? As far as I can recall, there was a lawyer in Cornwall who used to do this. He'd show all the evidence to witnesses, and he even made the newspapers because of it. Huh, the exhaustive method. I wouldn't recommend it. As long as you've collected the evidence, you'll have more options at your disposal and can review the materials anytime to help with your reasoning. So this is what happens in the UK. It did say this is fiction. I was told this was a fiction by the video game. It was very, very... It very much wanted you to know this is fiction for some reason. Besides, we don't even have professional badges to pin or chests. Wait a second. Why did professional badge pop into my head all of a sudden? What even is this thing? I feel like this is a reference to Ace Attorney. What do you mean? They tell me there's not animals between detective work while being well dressed? I suspect not. Doing detective work while being well dressed. They are very cute. I really like the clothing. The way they've done the clothes. Because, like, to simplify and draw the clothing from these eras isn't necessarily as easy as it might sound, because these are very complicated clothing, and to figure out how to make them look nice, elegant, detailed, but not too much that it's a pain. I think they did a really good job. They're really cute. I especially like the way the hats were done, especially with the ears, because it's actually really hard sometimes to get like the little hats and stuff right with the ears. Not that I have ever tried to get hats and stuff right with ears that are maybe not human. No, never done that. This is pretty simple too. We just need to jot down their business as well, though I think I might have just skipped something. Does this go back a page? Nope. That speeds forwards. What's this do? This is pretty simple too. We just need to jot down all the business as well. Though I might be overstepping here, but people's impressions of one another are always changing in real time. This will have to be a joint effort. Like this. I like the Crazy Crow lady a lot, honestly. I love her hat. I love her face. Yes, just like this. You can always look it up whenever your memory fails you. That's a good habit too. Otherwise, why did God invent paper and pen in the first place? These things are like an external brain for humans. Let me think. The question I need to ask are, where did they go? I cautiously probed them about their addresses and offered to provide them with some medical assistance, which I genuinely could do. But Mr. Moore kept his lips sealed, so I didn't press further. If he wants to treat his wife following the direction the carriage went, there actually is a place, New Bethlehem. Bethlehem. I can't quite say that word. Are you serious, or is he? More or less a time-honored a psychiatric treatment institution far better than unorganized general practitioners. However, when it comes to our current research on psychiatry, what troubles me deeply is that our patients are growing in number, yet our understanding remains so limited. But what if nobody is willing to accept your explanation? Very well, it is not altogether incomprehensible. After all, we live in an era riddled, rife or riddled could both be used here, luckily, because I can't read apparently, with overlapping ideological currents and technological collisions. Indeed, there are times when we truly need to offer explanations for the culture and lifestyle we take for granted. Or less arsenic in your water or food or whatever. Less lead in the pipes. Doesn't, like, arsenic and lead and stuff actually cause people to go crazy? A description of yours sounds a bit historical philosophy. A bit like historical philosophy, and it really isn't all that different from how things will be 100 years from now. Is it? So clearly the mental institutions need just to take away the lead. Hey, the more similar things look, the easier it is to highlight their distinct attributes. That's why I have it in my water to wash you. Mean. Alright, then I'll jot down all these messy bits and pieces so everyone can look them up whenever they need. You seem to have jotted down quite a lot. Still, where did all those highly subjective comments come from? I just love writing this way. It's what this job deserves. Alright, then why is Scotland Yard called Scotland Yard instead of Wales Yard or Ireland Yard? You're a grown-up cat now. You'll find the answer on your own. Let me think of the questions I need to ask are. Because there's a yard of Scots, obviously. Alright, so we move on to the next topic. Both our strengths and weaknesses can equip us with more ways to solve problems, yet human capacity is ultimately limited. Sometimes even the strongest professional ethics cannot resolve all problems. For instance, no matter how sharp an observer someone is, they cannot accurately identify suspect in heavy fog. At such moments, let God's dice decide how events will unfold. Sometimes, even when there is a little chance of victory, we still want to fight tooth and nail, but there is always a way out. Failure does not mean total defeat. Alright, I'll be happy to trust you, but now is really not the time to keep people guessing. As I mentioned in my letter, several relatively scattered child abduction cases have occurred in London before Christmas. These are on record at Scotland Yard. As for those unreported cases, given this ratio, there are likely many more. Children go missing in London every single day. You know that, Mr. Peterson. How much sin lurks in the city? There's a statement. Oh yes, the crow lady the crow lady came in talking about the devil, by the way. Listen to me, Miss Golden. This time it's all girls. Apart from girls, there are only young women, to be precise. Most of them are teenage girls. The oldest among them is no more than 25 or 26 years old. I compiled the data from the past 6 months, and this group is disproportionately large. Also, shortly after the couple left, I received an anonymous telegram. Beware the Babylonians. London is falling. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. I can't sing today. It seems like a joke, or as a kind of encryption game that cryptography enthusiasts love to play, but you're right, all these things add up. Judging by your identity, this seems like a hint or a warning. It's a coincidence. Ah, yes. Beware the Babylonians. This is a coincidence. Nothing ever happened. Nothing ever important happens, yeah. Or did something neither you nor I know about really happen? In short, the odd couple, the anonymous telegrams, and the frequent missing persons cases. If I put all these things together and follow the leads, I might be able to find something, including those I failed to track down before. The missing individuals that include your editor friend. All these setbacks I've suffered over the past 6 months have made one thing clear. The days of working alone are over. This is most likely a case that's beyond my ability to investigate on my own, and that's why I'm writing to you. I need some reliable people. They should not have too many official connections, yet not too few either. Some must possess a strong sense of justice, while others need to properly set aside their conscience. Oh my! Yes. And another common trait they must possess is this: they must not be too well acquainted with the law enforcement community either. So how many people are there in total? Ramsey Corbin. Please excuse me for interrupting you two, but it's too cold outside and there's a wind blowing. That's not a good place to talk. I recognized the visitor the moment I laid eyes on him. Coincidentally, even though I was not acquainted with him, I knew his face. After all, more people would recognize his father, Cuthbert Corbin. I would very much like to introduce him to you right now. He would be a popular character after all. He is young, handsome, and has not only wealth, but even status. However, my attention was drawn to another completely unfamiliar guest at the moment. She was a petite young girl dressed in a full black morning gown, sitting very close to the fireplace. Since the mourning period for women tends to be quite long, I had no idea what misfortune had befallen her at that time. Yet people are always inclined to show sympathy to young girls in mourning attire. After all, this usually indicates that they may have lost their fathers or husbands at a tender age. Like you? I don't see it. But my sympathy was soon replaced by wariness. She did not utter a single word the entire time, but I swear, as far as her casual indifferent expression suggested, she had most likely listened to every word we exchanged at the door. This girl looks as if she has a pair of sharp ears. Well then, let's head inside first. I really didn't expect this place to be this packed on the first day after the holiday. I suppose you'll have to get used to having someone to back you up. Eleanor Worcester. And you, miss? You are a fake widow and an uninvited guest. Well, there's a statement. Make that stupid face. That I can't deny. So what? You didn't kick me out, which means I'm still useful. So could you explain it to me first, ladies and gentlemen? expect a man like Peterson, you know, as tough as nails, to do a thing like this. To make a long story short, everyone's here to help, and it's not often that Peterson asks for a favor. He's a fox. Wasn't it you who said you'd come to, you opportunist? Fine, fine. It seems you have quite a deep prejudice against me, but at the very least, right now, I am a trustworthy opportunist. Otherwise, you would not have let me sit here. But according to the rules, you should at least introduce us to this young lady first, and then... I don't care about any rules. Margaret Gordon, am a professional writer. I think golden is what she's trying to say, but it also calls for gold, and I'm kind of confused because it keeps changing her name. These three names are not the same name. This bothers me. And I would also like to restart my rig real quick. Excuse me. Is the camera just not gonna work anymore? Hey. The camera is not turning on. That's great. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, let's... Come on. Okay, there we go. My camera just wasn't working for some reason. I miss Hedge. I'm back. I just had to fix my camera. I'm a professional writer. Mr. Corbin, I work with newspapers and magazines every single day. I know who you are, and I know who your father is. I saw your campaign advertisement a while back, so I also know exactly what you're here for. I should have known. All the women you're familiar with are the really formidable type. There's a statement. Hedge. Yes, Hedge. I think it's more likely that your face is just too memorable. I readily admit to that too. Yeah, I guess it's good to have confidence. In short, he was on the scene when the Moors burst in, and he naturally joined the group. I was more used to working alone, but since I had made almost no progress in the case investigation before Christmas, and letting him join us would all things considered do more good than harm. This guy was more than willing to foot the bill. Besides that, he could also provide us with a whole bunch of unrestricted passes. The cost was that we would share a portion of the honor with him after the matter was settled, so that he could gain a few more votes. Fine, if that's the case, I have no objections for the time being. As Gilbert put it, the Corbins are all opportunists. They once won merits in the I can't say that word. Napoleonic Wars, but their success was surprisingly smooth. Their success was suspiciously smooth. Gilbert might be able to vouch for him. Besides, I'm not all that worried about him causing any unexpected complications here. After all, as long as the goals are aligned, people like him will work their fingers to the bone for the sake of profit. Alternatively, I can just ignore him while sorting this all out. It's a problem for later. Fair. As for the other one, I came here on my own accord. I think she might be a rat, actually. Or maybe a hamster? I'm not sure. It might be a cat. Are you sure you didn't shout your plan out loud in the street, Mr. Peterson? I was planning to hire another temporary assistant, and for certain considerations, it had to be a young girl. But when I sent a messenger to deliver the employment letter and collaboration fee to an acquaintance, this person involved said both of these items had been stolen en route. Gnostic Napoleon always knew you were a rat. I'm not a rat, I'm a wolf! Then this young lady claimed to have found these two items and was very interested in them. Your shirt was found. I looked at the young girl wearing the same suspicious look as Gilbert. She does have some real skill, so I've taken her on as a temporary hire. With all due respect, what was your purpose in specifying that it had to be a young girl? I think you can guess. No, I cannot let any girl be a decoy in this matter. Besides, she's still in mourning. He looked at the girl and she looked back at him, her eyes bright and piercing. I had meant it for her own good, but there was clear dissatisfaction in her eyes. Somehow, her stare made me step back half a pace. I think that any thought of doing something for someone's own good should first ask the person's willingness. Listen, madam, I lost my husband and it's truly pitiful. I never thought that at my young age I would end up like this. But if a train is coming straight at us and we're both tied tightly to the railway tracks, I bet you'll die and I'll survive. Well, there's a statement. What do you mean by that? Literally meaning. She put a finger to her lips and winked at me. I did not continue speaking. I always feel Gilbert is hiding something from me, especially in those brief, strange glances that he shares with that girl. But he really had no reason to tell me everything. That said, Gilbert's professional integrity has always been an extremely reliable hallmark. That girl makes me a little afraid, but since he thinks the stranger is reliable, I choose to trust him for the time being. I glanced around at the faces of the three of them. The four protagonists of this story were all assembled. And now, my friends, let me take a breath. I am the only one among our group who's skilled in clerical work. All three of them recommended me to take full responsibility for finishing the story, but I refused. If a protagonist is needed, I would prefer to divide the entire story into 4 parts, with different people telling different versions. For our first readers, friends regardless of age, gender, or race, the destiny of even one of us will be closely linked to a certain moment. Because we live together in this world. Chapter 1, 3, something. That was fast. From the start of this chapter, please select a narrator. You will follow their perspective until the end of the story. The story may vary slightly per perspective, but each claims to be the true version. If you like to experience other characters' perspectives simultaneously, please select again at the start of the next round. Okay. I just like the noise it's making. I want to go get a drink real quick, and then I'll be right back. My throat does not like this much talking. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. Ugh. I'm thinking about it. London Bridge is actually London Bridge is really a demented song. Well, I guess that's one perspective, yes. Locked away the superior two characters. Who should we go with? I've got some lozenges and a drink. I had a drink to start with. I just drank it all. It's up to you. I guess we'll go with the puppy. Confirmed selection of Gilbert's perspective. For the story? Confirm. Pleased to meet you. You have selected to experience the story from Gilbert's perspective. More than one person was waiting for the opening of this office, and the chaotic chatter of carriages and footsteps formed the post-Christmas overture to the start of work. At this very moment, there are 4 people standing outside the door in total. One of them looked like a coachman. After all, he still held a whip in his hand. Oh, I like the music. All you do is drink. Yeah, I really, I had a coffee. I had some coffee this morning. It was so good. The 2 ladies at the front appeared to be together, yet oddly maintained a close stance. The 2 ladies at the front appeared to be together, yet oddly maintained a close stance while keeping a polite distance. Oh, I really like the lamb. Oh, she's so cute. I wonder what that is. She's pretty though. We did some drugs too. Oh my gosh. No drugs. No medicine. The last one seemed to be an elderly gentleman. And judging from his clothes, at the very least, his financial status was far above the average income in London. Very, very handsome outfit right there. What a nice little owl. What do you mean? Eating coffee is a drug? No. You said all I do is drink. I said I had coffee. And now you're accusing me of having drugs, and I didn't have any drugs or medicine. What do you mean caffeine is a drug? Is it? I don't think so. Wait, did you invite this many people? I am not that fond of socializing, nor do I have so much time to spend on my social life. It seems more than the first batch of work after this holiday. It seems nothing more than the first batch of work after the holiday. Was this within your expectation? Well, I think so. I plan to investigate the unsolved case and telegram, but since you're here, let's begin with these matters. Chronologically, they may be connected. You're not taking a drug. Okay, that's stupid. You're not taking unless you're taking it directly, you're not taking a drug. If you're eating poppy seeds, you're not having opium. There's a difference between a natural form and a chemical form, and I think that should be considered. See, it's a drug in a sense. No, it's not. In the sense that I'm not taking it directly, I'm having coffee. Ah. That's like saying you're having opium if you have a poppy seed. It's just not how it works. I mean, there's considerably more caffeine in coffee than there is the compounds for, like, opium or something, but it doesn't matter. It's just silly. Why is there a dog, gentleman, and a cat girl stream? I am a whoop! It's because it's a game. Okay, heads. Put Coke and Cola. Coke and Coke. Don't know where I have to take you came from. Okay, heads. We used to put Coke in Coke. Yes, that's true. Hi, Dragon. How's your day? But since you're here, let's begin with these matters. Chronologically, they may be connected. Work has to be dealt with one way or another, but it seems that I must at least sort these people by order of arrival. Actually, on a normal day, I think I could handle everything, but now I need everyone to sit in. Is it just observing? Can't I ask questions? You may, but keep your questions specific. Others may do so too. Shall we receive them one group at a time? I was just thinking the same thing. They arrived together in the foyer. The snow having stopped, cheeks still flushed from the cold despite. Cheeks still flushed from the cold despite. That's not how you would normally end a sentence. A pot of hot tea eased the chill before they settled into their seats. Everyone came to the inner office. Sorry, I just crunched on my lozenge by accident. My day just started and it already stinks. Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, dragon. That's her future husband. What? Guys, the game takes place in 1884, 1894, something like that. That's over 100 years ago. No. No, or you know you have a time machine? I do not, in fact, have a time machine. Besides, this is fiction! It's just over 100 years old, then it explains the white hair. No, I'm not! Well, no! He's not even a person! I mean, he's maybe a person, but he's a dog! No! He's not human. I like human. Okay, this is going weird places. Everyone came to the inner office together, planning to receive them one by one. Which client should we ask first? I'll come to you. You're a wolf. True, but I am a hedge wolf, and I take human form. Or rather, my main form is human. The hedge wolf is kind of extra. Let's speak with the coachman first, I guess. The man brushed the snow off his clothes. Unlike the others, oh my gosh, it's so loud in my ears. Unlike the others, his face bore no traces of worry, and he sat opposite us. That is to say, Mr. Peterson, do you remember Lord Yeats? He spoke with a distinctive accent, one that sounds like the local twang. Let me think. Did I ever take on the case of his missing goods? Did I ever take on the case of his missing goods, that shipment of Indian spices? Yes, sir. Back then, he was just a small merchant with 2 shops. But now he's sold them, becoming a goods merchant himself is far better than he being cooped up in the shop all day. Has he lost something? Again? No, he's lost a person. Now the real question is, insert the obvious question that Dragon would understand. Pardon me, do you mean losing someone in a figurative sense? No. It's the literal meaning. My apologies. What Lord Yeats means is that they don't report this to the police simply fear of drawing gossip. Is that they didn't report this to the police simply for fear of drawing gossip. I knew exactly what he was implying. He thought there were too many people here, but as it turned out, this wasn't something they couldn't be privy to. Though I still have my guard up against a few individuals here, I'll have to play it by ear for the time being. You can speak here. You've seen it yourself. There are far too many cases around Christmas for me to handle alone. These people are all, what I mean is folks with proper manners know what not to spread around. Can you guarantee it? Alas, of course I can. You see, our master has always been a kindly soul. Last year, a distant relative of his had a daughter, just 20 years old, who was planning to come to London to make a living. The girl was named Hannah James. Out of kindness, the Lord Yeats took her in as a maid. She was a bit clumsy from time to time, but she could always finish her work as required. Because of the snowstorm, the route the girl usually took home was suspended, so she couldn't go back for Christmas. Her master simply let her stay to look after the house while the whole family went on vacation to Weilburg Ridge. They said they'd stay until after New Year's, but they made a sudden decision to come back early. That's when they saw, did she empty the house? Oh, if she'd emptied the entire house, we could have been certain it was a case of burglary, but it wasn't that bad. The lass herself, along with several pieces of the lady's jewelry, vanished without a trace. It is indeed strange. If that had been her motive, she wouldn't have taken only a few pieces of jewelry. Is the coachman a rat or some kind of rodent? I'm not sure what he is, actually. I think it's some sort of rodent. Or maybe a donkey. It's a rodent or a donkey. I'm not sure which. Maybe a donkey, yeah. If he is a rat, then he is your natural prey. I'm a wolf, not a cat. She could have stolen the locket. She could have even stolen the locked account books as a means of coercion. It wouldn't be the first time something like this had happened. Yes, and it's never good look to have word get out around a theft committed by someone in the household. That's why the lady forbade the lord from calling the police, saying they should ask an acquaintance to handle the matter first and leave the rest for later. Leave it for later. If the stolen motive were money, no one would have been abductive. If the only intent were kidnapping, no one would have stirred up extra trouble. It sounds like the culprit was after the person and then took some valuable in a crime of passion, but wild speculation is no good habit. There are far too many people here today, and I can't get used to it at all. Our natural prey is poor innocent humans. What? I understand, but I cannot determine exactly what happened based solely on the description. The master has asked me to pick you up and take you there. It's the same address as last time, on Harley Street in Marylebone. Oh, and as for the commission fee, the master said it's negotiable. Alright, go out and wait first. Alright, the other gentlemen seem to be in a hurry. Just let me know if you need anything. The coachman went out, and the moment he closed the door, everyone in the room wore a thoughtful expression. The coachman's other speech sounds were not very distinct, but his pronunciation of the letter T was close to a Cockney accent. This proves he was most likely a native Londoner or had lived in the city for a long time, thus explaining why he could be contacted by his employer immediately after the holiday. Returned to work as soon as the day after Christmas. I can't read the rest of those words. This is not great design, but it is a demo. But we'll have to check the scene in person to find out what the girl went missing. Truly a classic. Truly classic of valuing reputation over human lives. That's why they were unwilling to turn to Scotland Yard, yet they still had a shred of kindness in them, which is why they were happy to take in relatives from the countryside. Such behavior is not unnecessarily related to kindness on many occasions. I do wish it had something to do with kindness. Everyone hopes so, but kindness alone won't make those wealthy folks dig deep into their pockets. They need to tie their sense of identity to a certain cause, and once they do it, it's like issuing a certificate of kindness in their conscience. To their conscience. That's a statement. What does this mean, Mr. Pretty Face? Just a bit of random nonsense. I suppose we ought to go check out the scene, shouldn't we? Yes, but there's no hurry. We still have some other things to prepare. Which client should we ask first? 2 ladies. I'll just go down. 2 ladies lingered at the door for a moment, seemingly hesitant about who should take charge of the matter. They sat right there in front of us, with a chair between them, at a distance that was neither too close nor too far. They kept us waiting for quite a long time, yet neither of them thought they should be the first to speak. One of them took a deep breath and reached out a hand to the other. Shall we speak together? May I? The older lady, the younger lady. You've worked just as hard as I have. I've been watching this whole time. They clasped each other's hands tightly, as if building a bridge between the 2 chairs, and a special alliance was formed at that very moment. Lee Hoggins, that is my name. Lucy Trotter. I used to be surnamed Hoggins too. And now we are looking for the same child. She is my biological daughter. And she is my stepdaughter too. Ah. Wait a second. Yes, as you can see, Madame, her husband Henry Huggins was my ex-husband, and a timber merchant. No, I've heard the name Lucy Huggins. I'm not surprised. After all, not many people can get a properly publicized divorce these days. I'm not surprised. After all, not many people can get a properly publicized divorce these days, right? Yes, although the law has been revised for a long time, I have read the news about you. It was an extraordinary civil lawsuit that filled me with deep respect. That lawsuit truly left my ex-husband seething with hatred, but evidently, as a woman without a job at the time, Evangeline was left to my ex-husband. However, he doesn't seem responsible enough. My stepdaughter went missing 3 days ago. Ah! That's why they're here. The little girl who just turned 13 always wears a displeased expression towards everyone and often gets into fights with girls her age at grammar school. But believe me, she's a kind-hearted, good kid. It's understandable that ladies would describe their children that way. However, what I need are the details of the case. Forgive her. She hasn't slept more than a few hours these past 30 days. If I may interject, have you not contacted Scotland Yard, and has she not tried to go back to Mrs. Trotter? My husband said he had already reported it, but it's strange. No one has come to visit us. No one has inquired about the case. At first I thought perhaps it was because of the holiday, but I know very well what can happen to a little girl lost in London. She cannot afford to wait. Her arm was trembling slightly. Lucy squeezed her hand and she calmed down. No, she hasn't come to me. She occasionally sends me telegrams, though I don't know how she found out my current telegraph address. But she went missing 3 days ago. Where exactly? At St. Pancras railway station. We had decided to return from Sheffield to spend the holiday in the city, as Henry wanted to meet with other business partners. In any case, Henry returned first with Evangeline on the train that arrived at 10:20 in the morning. When I arrived in London that afternoon, he told me Evangeline had gone missing at the station. Oh my heavens, during these holiday days, the railway stations are truly chaotic. If you can safely make your way out of them, you're With your purse still on you, that's a stroke of great luck. He didn't lose his money, he lost Evangeline. What you don't know is that the little girls can also turn into... All right, madam, no need to spell it out, but indeed, it's terribly hard to find someone at a railway station. Oh, good job, Mr. Fox. That was probably for the best. We sought help from a few others, but none were willing to look, saying much the same as you. I'm no detective, merely an assistant at best. Whether to take the case or not depends entirely on the detective himself. There's no reason not to take it. We should at least give it a try. That's wonderful. We can gather some funds for the fee. I can mortgage my current workshop to you. Oh, don't. Perhaps Henry hasn't completely spent my dowry yet. Lucy, what's that? That's what spokes your life. Oh, don't. Henry hasn't completely spent my dowry yet. Lucy, that's what supports your life now. No, I know what kind of man he is. He absolutely will not spend a penny on this. His money can be earned back, but if Evangeline is gone, nothing can bring her back. Let's leave that aside for now, ladies. Any difficult cases others refuse to take, I will take, because they are all amateurs and utterly lacking in confidence. Ah. Sorry, I'm grabbing another lozenge real quick before I continue. But I want to ask you one question. Did he actually report it to the police? An awkward and heavy silence fell over the room. The question struck like a hammer in a sensitive spot. Thank you for the hydrate. It only depends if It only depends on whether one is willing to answer what they wish to believe or what they have truly determined. The two ladies looked at each other after several minutes of silence. I don't believe it. At this moment, the stepmother's answer came before the biological mother's, firm and resounding. That's roughly what I guess, but I still have to follow procedure. On what grounds? He kept complaining that the girl was becoming harder to manage as she grew older. To be honest, my relationship with that young girl isn't good, but I can't stand him. Lately, he's been testing the waters, asking me what kind of man she could marry. At first, I didn't pay much attention until he mentioned older men. Many do business with him. Some are wealthy, others missing limbs, or known for their temper. Several are alcoholics, ill, or gamblers. Even if she isn't my biological daughter, his behavior still doesn't seem like that of a normal father. Alright, I have a general understanding. You two may leave now. I'd like to confirm something, sir. Are you confident about this case? They haven't moved at all, which means their attention is on me. As these skeptical women and complicated marital relationships. That's really hard to say with something in my mouth and a speech impediment. I've already run this problem through my mind. Complex relationships, concealed truths, and a hidden selfish motive, and a hint of selfish motives mixed in. The difficulty lies only in London's extensive railway network, but transportation hubs are often used as distracting factors in certain cases. In that sense, perhaps there is a greater hope. Otherwise, it's a race against the railways. 70%, a 70% chance of success. Also, I need to know what she looks like and roughly what she was wearing when she went missing, or if she was wearing any jewelry. Lucy placed a copper photograph case in front of us. This is a photo from when she was 7. It gives an idea of her appearance. As for whether when she went missing, she was wearing a crystal pendant on a marigold patterned backing and an emerald green winter coat. Good, I understand. I'll take this case if I can't find her. I won't charge a single penny. Thank you. Thank you. We will repay you 100-fold. The two women walked out, one after the other, and as they left, that awkward distance returned between them. How complicated. Aww, cute. He opened the photograph case and showed us the small picture inside. It looked very much like a birthday photo. It was a round-faced little girl with a wolfish features, wearing an unhappy expression. So I guess the mom's a wolf. I like the older lady. She's very pretty. But the little girl is really, really cute. Indeed. And I like the sheep, too. Indeed, a train station is no place to search for someone. 9 out of 10 cases are doomed to end in failure. No, I mean marital relationships. I truly sympathize with you now. No, I meant marital relationships. I truly sympathize with you now. I think marrying the right person is very important. Not everyone is like you, right? Were you unhappy in your photos? Some of them not. It depended when photos were being taken. Like, I have some where I'm really happy, and some where I look like I'm gonna beat someone up. So, I'd say it varies. In some of the pictures, I look very violent. Well, I have a violent expression on my face, not very violent. I'm not being violent, of course. I don't remember being super violent. I also often have red eyes in pictures. You know the phenomenon where your eyes, look red in a picture? I get that a lot. I don't mind if you're violent. Well, good for you, I guess. If you had to deal with social scum every day, you wouldn't want to start a family either. That was a statement. Social scum isn't only found in dirty places. For polished scum, there are polished ways to deal with them. What I'm more curious about is, how did you manage to ask that question? Perhaps I should ask you first, and Worcester too. What could connect you with your enemy? I don't think it's that complicated. Women can understand women, especially when their identities overlap. Well, then, can you understand Queen Victoria? I feel like he's not supposed to be the one on screen right now. Not entirely, but I can understand the part of her that is a woman. It's not that complicated at all. It's simply they both see that man as their enemy now. Yeah. Why do you have such strong murderous intent, though? Well, I wasn't murderous intent. I was just going to attack you. Point taken. That is not Margaret Poole. That is Mr. Ramsey, something. Mr. Peterson, you can't just award points based on the answer you want, and I don't appreciate you framing such self-righteous traps in your questions. But to me, it really is that simple. This man hurt the first woman, and now this is the same threat to the second. Perhaps she feels compassion, but I never believe human empathy is 100% reliable, nor is it identification with a certain role. Empathy isn't as fragile as you think. It can be applied anywhere, including in warfare and governance. I'm pretty sure this is not supposed to be on screen still. So what's the question posed to you, Miss Golden? Alright, ladies and gentlemen. How about we focus on the matter at hand? That's why we're all gathered here. That 13-year-old girl has been missing in London for 3 days now. There's truly no time to wait for you to finish arguing about these empathy-related questions. You sound like my mother. Like my grandma, always muddling through things. See, isn't this proof that a common enemy can unite people? That sounds lovely. So true, so true. In my opinion, even if there is a winner and loser to be decided, we should handle the task first. Maybe while handling it, the outcome will reveal itself. I'd say all of you in politics are peacemakers. That's just how it is with political matters. Alright, let's focus on the task at hand. Which client should we ask first? Okay. The old gentleman entered, his cane tapping the floor, and carefully leaned it against the rack by the door before sitting down. I am Brandon Porter, teaching at University College London. My main research focus is biology, so I've taken on several students in this field. Among them is a female student who serves as my laboratory assistant. Wait, don't universities currently not admit girls? Indeed, most do not, but University College London is an exception. The college decided 6 years ago to accept female enrollment. Is that truly the case? Yeah, miss. Otherwise, I would not have encountered that young woman. Her name is Jenny Banning. Unfortunately, however, she is not a formal student. What do you mean by not formal? It's like this. She hopes to apply for enrollment at our college by producing sufficient scientific research achievement so she approached me. She works as an assistant in one of my small laboratories, cultivating fungi, tending to greenhouses, and writing papers based on her research direction. She is exceptionally diligent, willing to do the work of 2 male students, yet regrettably, despite such efforts, she often cannot secure the first authorship on papers, having to relinquish them to others. Pardon the interruption. Did she yield the first authorship under duress, perhaps, due to bullying by other male students? I mean, if she voluntarily relinquished it because of intimidation. No. That certainly is not the case. Regarding the bullying issue, when she first entered the laboratory, the male students did mock her, and indeed it was difficult to stop entirely, objectively speaking. However, it never escalated to the level of severe harassment. After a year, she had produced quite a few achievements. Some among them might still envy her, but most were genuinely convinced and respectful. Many often sought her advice, and she herself bore no grudges over past grievances. My own biases against women in academia shifted entirely due to Miss Banning. The issue, however, lies with those journals. None except research written with a woman as first author. That's why she couldn't secure authorship. As far as I've seen, no one bullied her. Is that truly the case? I've seen far too many injustices. For instance, husbands plagiarizing their wives' work that women had no So she came to... What he says is true, Miss Golden. I too have published papers. Yes, Mr. Peterson. If Miss Banning were a boy for first authorship, I could have easily recommended her to the Royal Society. The Royal Society? They are equally unwelcoming to women. If they had accepted female scientists from the start, there would have never been this issue of authorship. All right, Miss Golden. I understand your outrage at social injustice. Here is a resolution, Professor Porter. If what you're saying is untrue, I will accept the requests from that unofficial female student of yours to investigate academic misconduct, and I will offer her the lowest rate. Not solely about gender, but they are indeed the disadvantaged party in this matter. That is my principle. Then so be it. You are most welcome to investigate thoroughly, because no such thing exists. We have truly treated her fairly in every way, including the first authorship issue. She voluntarily yielded it to other students after learning about these dreadful circumstances. Alas, the world cannot be changed overnight. If you truly haven't, then I mean no offense, Professor. It's entirely understandable, but we have genuinely been trying to help her. Please don't immediately cast us all as imagined adversaries. Believe that we have always stood by Jenny's side. She is my most outstanding student. Ah, steady on, steady on. Let's not forget what the main matter at hand. So, what's the issue settled? Let's proceed. What is your case inquiry about? It's about Jenny Banning. She's missing. On Theobald's Road, we have a small greenhouse that operates through the winter. Jenny volunteered to stay there over Christmas to tend to the fungi. She loves those things so much, like a mother watching over her children. We arranged to meet after Christmas, bringing along the other male students, those lads still in London, to take over for her so she could have a break. But when we went to the laboratory this morning, she was gone. She isn't a local, nor is she someone accustomed to comfort. She rented an attic near the laboratory, freezing in winter and sweltering in summer. The boys asked the landlord. She hasn't returned at all. Apologies for interrupting, but is it possible she just stepped away temporarily? Neighbors nearby haven't seen her for days. She had no romantic partner. Those fungi were the great love of her life. That's why she always gave meticulous instructions during handovers. Were there any signs of struggle or a fight in the house? No, that's precisely what we find very strange. Was she alone there during the holiday period? Also, has Scotland Yard been notified? She was alone. She stayed there during the holidays. My other students have gone to report it to the police, but with the holiday just over, we're also concerned that Scotland Yard might be short-staffed. Indeed, aside from corruption issues, I suspect some among them may not have sobered up yet. Very well, I can take this on. Thank you so much. You may be saving a future woman scientist. To me, it's just about saving a person. I don't care whether they're a scientist or a king. But understand this, Professor. In the eyes of many, your student's value is merely that of an ordinary woman. So we must prepare for the worst. I understand. Couldn't you have phrased that more gently? I'm a detective, not a nurse. Now please step up for a moment. I don't understand. If you wish to continue speaking, I don't understand why you always have to be so heartless, blunt, tactless, or all of the above. If he were a politician, he'd likely be relegated to a corner office to watch the typewriter. That would suit me just fine. Look at you two, one blaming the other for being uncooperative, the other completely unconcerned due to professional demands. Well, I truly have nothing to say, but this time I'll take your side, Miss Golden. You could have phrased it differently. So what? Would that change the situation? Isn't the reporting person's state of mind part of the situation too? They might ultimately face the worst outcome anyway. That doesn't mean you should make them worry prematurely. People need time to process things. Boring. If you have the energy for this, you might as well deal with what comes next. I didn't come here to listen to you argue. There are so many interesting methods in this matter, and all you care about is how to talk to that old gentleman. She just seems to be the kind of person like the very never invited to the princess's christening. The moment she opens her mouth, this is the result. So it seems you're on Gilbert's side. I can't be bothered to think about such questions, but if it ends in this nonsense topic, then sure, whatever you say. Which client should we ask first? I think that's enough. All 3 commissions have been started. The only sound in the room was the crackling of charcoal burning in the fireplace. Soon the sound of paper and pen followed. I took out a pen and began recording these cases. Their commonality was obvious. The missing persons were all women. Or rather, 2 are young women, which more easily lead to certain very grim possibilities. And a little girl needs no further comment. I believe we all understand the reasons all too well. This time I have 4 times the personnel. I cannot accept another operational failure. I was starting to believe Gilbert's theory. Most of the recent missing persons cases followed this pattern. Young women, little girls. Yes, and the closer it got to Christmas, the more frequent the incidents became. Sitting around speculating isn't going to help. Which case should we tackle first? Although I don't care for collaborating, the benefits are obvious. We are 4. I suggest we split into 2 groups. Are you sure the rest of us can manage without you? We're all amateurs here. At least you're all amateurs with some competence. Otherwise, why would I just hire a retired army medic? Oh, it's a reference to Sherlock Holmes there. Besides, I have a feeling we'll disagree on priorities. Better to work separately. Can I go alone? No. Ha! Missing persons cases can vary greatly, but I never assume the simple explanation. More people means more time can be gained. Let's decide the groups and stay flexible. However, if either lady is to accompany one of us act alone, a chaperone might be necessary. I don't need one, or rather, I never have. It's still troublesome in the eyes of some clients. Then let them find it strange. I don't think you can convince a fashionable feminist. Let them think of me as an old witch, then. Well, what about the other lady? Don't forget I'm a widow. They only dare to gossip about unmarried girls. As for us, why can't these social morals just turn back against them? See, you're out of arguments again. I expected, but I must at least inform Miss Golden that some very conservative witnesses or clients cannot bear to see unmarried men and women out together without their chaperone. Then we'll deal with it when the time comes. Now, which case should we investigate first? Please select a case to entrust. Current selection will be updated later. Please stay tuned. I wonder which one I'm supposed to do! What am I supposed to do? I might start this, but I might not finish because I'm not we've been going a little while. I intend to seek out Hannah James myself. After all, it's not the first time I've taken on this family's quest, and they're always eager to deal with when it's someone familiar. That's why I might be able to wrap things up faster. Hydrate. Options. Truly options. Such tedious social obligations. But some traditionalists firmly believe in this kind of thing. You can't convince them, miss. Well, this dog has chosen its path first, and I'm quite pleased with that. In some situations, working alone is a good idea, but in others, going solo isn't wise. Now is the time to choose our teammates. I think Eleanor might be more useful. And I feel like she's gonna be a pain. She's not very sociable, so it could be a problem, but I feel like she'd be more useful here. I didn't want to bring her into the team initially. She's too clever for her own good. But so far, everything she's done tells me she's truly not an irredeemable character. If we ever need to choose a young lady as bait, she's definitely one who can get out unscathed. Plus, I can keep an eye on her, prevent her from going back to petty theft. Worcester. I'd rather work alone. We had an agreement. Fine. Find that thieving maid, come back, and then on to the next job. I assume you know the situation isn't settled yet. What's the difference anyway? For now, we've decided how to pair up, but we might need to coordinate further with the plan ahead. At least we need to know where the others will be operating. So next we still need to assign a case to the other group. Perhaps I could investigate one more case myself, so that factor needs to be taken into consideration as well. Think about it, which case should we assign to the others? I think this one, actually. Just to get a start on it, because that one's gonna... I feel like this is probably the real disappearance case. And I think this one's gonna be the hardest to manage. This is a relatively complex and challenging case involving an open space like a train station with high foot traffic, but since we probably can't expect to solve this commission in one go and only require everyone to gather as many clues as possible, we can lower our standards a bit. You'll visit Hogan's home in St. Pancras. Both places likely require a good deal of social finesse. You should be able to handle it. But Mr. Peterson, in a place like a train station, can we really manage with just social skills? Perhaps Mr. Corbin could use his social connections to resolve some of other issues. I'll do my best. And so the teams have been preliminarily assigned. My plan is we must all meet here at least once every morning. Is that really safe? I'm concerned that overnight messages will always have some delay. I don't want us meeting at night. That makes us too easy to follow. After all, do you remember that telegram? We don't know if the other party is friend or foe, nor what their intentions are. If any of you get further entangled in these cases, it will only add more unnecessary complications. I agree. That way we'll know where to send telegrams, and if we return home on time at night, we can receive messages faster and more directly. Unless we decide to keep acting after dark, in which case they may be delayed. There may be delays. That makes sense on paper, but actual action never goes exactly as planned. Plans failing to keep up with changes is also a common occurrence. Still, I hope everyone can achieve what they wish for. However, Mr. Peterson, we should also consider some other matters. I recall that couple you mentioned earlier. I wonder if it's necessary for everyone to make a detour to that place. If you wish, you can find time to visit them. Can you be certain if it's that place? Any interference should be held with reservation until verified, but I'm still inclined to believe that person is in New Bethlehem. Gilbert, are you sure that piece is more reliable than a private doctor? Are you sure that place is more reliable than a private doctor? Why didn't he send the person to Springfield Hospital? Sometimes you can't judge abnormal things with the mindset of a normal person. In my view, the current treatment methods for the mentally ill are largely similar. None are fully humane. And such a place might serve purposes beyond just providing treatment. I read a story once roughly about a merchant who owed a large sum to a gang. He got himself sent to prison through a minor criminal act using a controlled sentence to buy time for repayment. And such things have indeed happened in reality. And a temporary goal can be achieved through a poor environment, then everything becomes explicable. I truly don't want to go to that wretched place. That's because if something goes wrong with your mind, your parents can find you the best sanatorium. Those at their wits' end often have no choice but that place. Alright, then I'll make a note of it. I hope it's worthwhile. What about that Anonymous telegram. Judging by the wording, it seems to convey some information, yet also like a warning. I decided to adopt a wait-and-see approach for now. Telegram scams are so rampant these days, particularly because it's hard to trace an anonymous sender. Priorities must be set. Be precise. But that was an alert. But if that was an alert, I'm an adult male. My personal record is sending poor other adult males to prison with an unsharpened sword. Alright, I have no further objections. So let's get to work quickly! Yay! Let's go, everyone, for the women and other vulnerable groups. For my friend. For everyone. Right, for ourselves and even for more. And even more for everyone. This will be a tough fight. I'm not yet just sensitized to this kind of long-term collaborative relationship, but for now, it's a good start. Different needs and different goals are far less likely to bring people into closer cooperation than the Commission's views of work itself can provide. I'm determined to find out what kind of character lies behind these London missing persons cases. So early in the story, everyone is still filled with hope. I might leave this here now. TV regional maps, London surrounding areas. Ah, that must be a load sign. Save. It's a pretty game. It's a bit wordy for me, but it is interesting. It's a good thing I like things like Sherlock Holmes, because if I didn't, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed this, but you know, it was interesting. Anyway, thank you guys so much for stopping by and hanging out with me. It was nice. I liked it. Yeah. And there's still a bit more, though. I'm not probably gonna do it. Unless I decide to do the actual game. Which I don't know. Anyway. It was nice. I liked it. It was nice. It was nice. Finally got that visual novel. Good for you. Good for you. It's a nice map. It is a nice map. Here, let's see. I think that will be... There you go. Anyway, any theories of the plot? Considering it's following a... Sorry, just a moment. Let me get a drink. Missing person's case that covers a lot of people. And it's following... I feel like it's the kind of case where everything's connected. And with how much it's pointing out the mental institute, I almost wonder if it's going to be a base of operations for the story. Whether on a positive note or not, like, I feel like there's going to be something important about the mental institute. I'm feeling that some of the cases that are the initial cases are going to be solved really easily, and they're going to be kind of the tutorial, and then you end up getting into the real case is going to be kind of how it goes. So I don't think all three cases are genuinely connected. I think only one of them is probably going to be genuinely connected. Whether it's the little girl's case or the scientist case, I think those are more likely than the maid case. I think the case of the maid is going to be something more simple. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be that she is the thief, but it could be. I also think it's going to be the kind of story where the characters must confront themselves. Pretty standard fare, I guess. Probably, yeah. I like the Sherlock Holmes references. I think that's actually very well done. Unless there's no confrontations on that. True. Somehow. Yeah, somehow. They've already had confrontations and had to challenge their worldviews. I mean, I did have it set to audience friendly mode, which is now taken off, but I did have it set to audience friendly mode. Because I figured I'm streaming. I don't know what's going to be in the content of the game. It might be fine. It might not. I'm not risking it on stream. Yeah. What about off stream? I probably won't play off stream. And I still might go for audience friendly mode even off stream because I just don't care for being explicitly nasty stuff. Like, I just don't enjoy that. I get it exists and I understand that it's a thing. I'm not like hiding from that reality, but if I'm doing something for entertainment, I don't necessarily. It's for entertainment. I don't want to think about all the bad stuff in the world, you know? It won't necessarily stop me from doing something, but it's not like that's not fun. As it shouldn't be considered fun. I'm not saying people do it because they consider it fun. Not my favorite to be an entertainment, that's all. But no, it was interesting. It was interesting. Anyway, thank you guys for stopping by and joining. I do enjoy the Sherlock Holmes references. I appreciated them. Anyway, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out with me. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend, and bye-bye!